So you got a little fight going on there, a little scuffle.
Este es lo que te estaba hablando ahorita, son haitianos.
Oh, son haitianos.
Exacto, son haitianos. Eso es lo que los haitianos vienen a mi país a ocasionar problemas.
¿Cómo tú sabes que son haitianos?
Porque lo vi, conozco. Mira los morenos en el color, tú puedes darse cuenta en el diálogo. ¿Entiendes? La señora dijo, son haitianos, hay que matarlo a todos, nada más vienen a buscar problemas. Donde quiera que viven, donde quiera que hay muchos haitianos, eso es lo que pasa. Miren el motivo del por qué.
¿Chocaron o qué? ¿Qué pasó?
No, él le debe un dinero.
Okay.
Son problemas de dinero.
¿Por qué no se llevan bien los dominicanos y los haitianos?
Siempre nos hemos llevado bien. Si no nos hubiésemos llevado bien, no hubiésemos compartido nuestra isla con ellos.
Sí.
Si no, eso está mal dicho, que no nos llevamos bien.
Entonces ellos se comportan mal.
Ese es el motivo del por qué no nos agrada su comportamiento. Por ejemplo, usted y yo venimos caminando muy normal.
Sí.
Si en caso le tiran a uno y le dan a usted que no sabe de nada.
Sí.
Esto es el motivo. El dominicano no es así.
No es
el
así.
Dominicano, si tiene un problema con usted, es con usted. No es para la multitud. Porque ellos, un solo tiene problema y salen todos.
Okay.
Ellos pelean, aquí en Dominicana se dice como los pavos. El pavo pelea en manada. ¿Entiendes? El gallo no. El gallo pelea uno y uno.
Okay.
¿Entiendes? Una pelea de gallos, dos gallos. Pero el pavo no, el pavo es en
So apparently Dominicans feel that Haitians don't behave themselves properly. They're criminals, they don't obey the law, they are troublemakers. And even my guide here kind of seems to share that sentiment. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. Every country you go to, there's always some sort of contention between groups. You see it everywhere, and the Dominican Republic is not the exception.
I give it all honors and glory and praises due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders of the Great Millstone, the men that told me this truth. And a peace and salutation, Brakathum, to all you sincere Akim that's laboring in this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, and this was a clip that I seen online, and it just shows you that the Bible is a true book, and we are those people that's written, concerning the prophecy of the tribe of Levi being the so-called Haitians, and the tribe of Simeon being the so-called Dominicans, that they will not be united, okay? And, that's the hatred within they have for each other, these two particular tribes, okay? And the Lord said that they will not be united. They will be against each other, okay? And, you had the one individual, he's basically saying that, they're hated because, the so-called Haitians, they are troublemakers, or they have a certain way about them. Whatever the cause may be, right? It's just how it is, even among the different tribes, right? You have, what it says, Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Okay, going into the southern and northern tribe or kingdom coming, basically being against each other. You had hatred between the tribes, but in particular, we're going to focus on the tribe of Levi and the tribe of Simeon. Okay, so let's go real quick to the book of Genesis, chapter 49, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Now Jacob, being the progenitor or the patriarch of the 12 tribes, right, called unto his sons, right, his 12 sons, and told them what was going to befall them in the last days. And we're now in the last days, as you may know. All right, let's jump down to verse 5. It says, Simeon and Levi are brethren. Now, why would they say Simeon and Levi are brethren, knowing that all 12 sons are brethren, right? It's showing you that it's talking about two particular tribes. They're going to be close, all right? And it said, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Now, that is talking about witchcraft, all right? They like to practice Santeria, voodoo, right? That's witchcraft. That's the instruments of cruelty that are in their habitations, all right? And their habitation is the island of Hispaniola, all right? Where you have Simeon and Levi, which are the so-called Dominicans and Haitians. They share that particular island, all right? Verse 6, O my soul, come not thou into their secret, onto their assembly, going into their witchcraft. You know, they're heavy into doing witchcraft on the left-hand side. All right, you got to remember, this is the reason why Haiti is in the state that it's in, because these were the Levi priests. They were totally doing the, you know, when it comes to the ceremonies and, you know, dealing with the priesthood, that belonged to Levi. All right, they wasn't given any. They wasn't given any basically possessions of land. You know what I mean? They were the priesthood. They will basically dwell among the tribes. You know, they didn't get any inheritance. All right, they had to just basically live among the different tribes, but they were taken care of. And it says, be not thou united. Right, it says, be not thou united, meaning they're not going to be together. They're going to be against each other. Particular, they're going to have a hatred for each other. It says, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Now, this is talking about the time when it was Shisham, right? He raped their sister Dinah. Okay, when you go into the history of that, you know, Levi and Simeon, they both went down and put Shisham and I believe the father Hamar to death, right? Because of what they defiled their sister. They raped Dinah. So that, they always they were always together. They were always both close, right? But now we see today they're not united. They're actually divided. But the Lord is gonna bring back all the tribes. All right, starting with the 144,000, 12,000 out of each tribe. All right, to basically call back in these latter days the house of David. All right, and we're all gonna be united. We got to remember we're under curses. Let's get that in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. And it reads, it says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. Now, it was one time we were brotherly with our brothers, with our neighbor. It don't matter if you knew the person, you would just show that brother love, and that's how we were, with our people. We would show hospitality. If a man was new to the town, you would bring him into your household. You would take care of him. You get him something to eat. You would wash his feet. These are the things that we would show kindness and love towards one another. You know what I'm saying? And now you see right now, our people, you hear about so-called black on black crime, violence towards each other. Our people have that hatred, that evil eye toward one another, and it never used to be that way. We used to have love and care for each other, man. You see, but that's you got to understand. We're under curses. That's the thing that many of our people, they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just because you Haitian and this one is Dominican, we're brothers, man. We're all brothers. You see? But it says, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Yeah, that's going into, single mothers, taking care of, the kids, and then the man leaving. That's a curse. All right? That's why you see Jake being raised by their mother or their grandmother. Because why? The man, he left because he got either sick and tired of the woman running her mouth, having attitude, whatever. It's just that's majority of our people. They grow up in single parent houses, and this is one of the curses, man. But nevertheless, right, the Lord said his eye, right, shall be evil towards his brother. And this is what you see right here, with Simeon and Levi, man. And not only Simeon and Levi, but all the tribes, man. All right, you got Benjamin that don't get along with Judah. You got Ephraim don't get along with Simeon. Vice versa, man. It's just, that's the curses that we're under right now. But the Lord is He's gonna have it where we're gonna be back as one. All right, let's get that in the book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 11. It says, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David, the house of David." All right, that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. You see, and that's talking about the different the animosity that Jake have among each other. The Lord is He's gonna do away with that, man. We're all gonna be brotherly towards one another. All right, and this is gonna start on this side, okay? Because you got the elect, right? You're gonna have brothers, from all 12 tribes, man, getting along, getting with one another, right? That's where it's gonna begin at. Right now on this side, and in the kingdom, it's gonna be something made where it's gonna be like a family reunion, man. All right, the northern and southern kingdom, the United Kingdom, all together. All right, no animosity, no hatred for one another. Because we're all one. All right, it was Esau, the so-called white man. That's the one that really divided us, man. You know what I'm saying? Divide and conquer. Okay. But yet, of course, we're under curses. But that was pretty much Esau pushing that, man. Okay. It says, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, man. Okay, real quick. Get another scripture. This is let me see. This is First Chronicles chapter 11 verse 1. Then all Israel gathered themselves to David, right? All Israel, okay? Both southern and northern kingdom. It says to David unto Hebron, saying, behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Right? We're all one. We're all relatives. We're all family. So the Lord is going to gather all of Israel again unto our king, King David. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be good, man. We're going to be good once and foremost, man. Okay? So right now, of course, you got tension between the tribes. In particular, this segment being on Simeon and Levi, which are the so-called Dominicans and Haitians. We're brothers, man. That's your brother, man. All right? You don't even know that we're one people. All right? We were all conquered. You have one that speaks Spanish and one that speak French, Creole. But, hey, by the end of the day, we were all conquered, man. Okay? And we're all of the same nation, man. All right? So with that, I'm going to end it there. All praises due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. Till the next time I say Shalom.